Welcome to You Can Automate YouTube channel. In this session, we are going to discuss about expect. What is this expect? If you are writing any test case in UI test case or any of the test cases, it is mandatory or very important to have the assertion. That means that it is a decision maker whether the test cases is working fine or not. Okay. Similarly, in WebDriver also we have something called expect. This is used to validate something whether it is coming right or not, as expected or not. If you go to official website of WebdriverIO, this is what it says. When you are writing tests, you often need to check values meet certain conditions or not. Right? Expect gives you access a number of matches that let you validate different things on the browser element or mock object. You can use this expect on browser or any of the element. Okay, and if you go to your config file also, here we can set the some of the parameters. That means that weight 2000. So this is what it says, that before throwing any error, or it should wait for this particular 2000 milliseconds before throwing error, or it has to wait for this, and for every interval of 100 milliseconds it has to check. This kind of settings also you can do. Okay, and if you check our WDIO config.js, right, here we have set the timeout, that is 10,000 milliseconds, that is 10 seconds. Right? Like that you can do a settings also. If you want, you can have this settings. So for example, I'll showcase that default options. These default options below are connected to a wait timeout. This wait timeout, if you copy here and check it here, this is a wait timeout or wait interval. These two things you can change it, and even if you are not changing, that is also fine. It will check for default wait. Okay, let's have a look on different options which we have. The first one, it says that to have a URL. For example, we have launched some of the URL, and if we want to check whether that URL which is launched is correct or not, whether it has launched the URL which we are expecting or not. To have that kind of validations, there is some function called to have URL, which we can check with using a expect and with the browser. That means that whatever the URL which is launched by browser, it should have this particular URL which is mentioned here. Okay, that is what it means. Let's try out this with our test cases which we have written and see what it gives here. Okay, so let me clear the command line. Okay, so here if you observe await browser.url, and we are launching www.amazon.com, right? I want to check, after launching the URL, I want to check whether the URL which is launched is correct or not. What will I do? I'm writing that expect. Okay, and inside bracket what I'm expecting, this particular browser which is active right now should have URL like this, what I'm mentioning here. Okay, I am mentioning this particular URL just to have validation. I need to have the URL like this. Okay, so this is my expectation. If it is not having this particular URL, this test case should fail. Okay, let me run this and see how does it look like. It is launching the URL, it is entering the keyword, and yes, it is clicking on the pop-up. So this is working fine, and there is no failure here. Oh, I need to add here await. Okay, let me run with await again. Let's see if it fails or not. Okay, cool. It is failing here. If you see, expected is this one, but received is with the slash. And the actual URL which we have launched is having slash, right? And what we are expecting is without slash. So that's why this particular test case is failing. So this is how that failure looks like. It is trying to have the URL, it is trying to check the URL which is exactly same as we have provided here. Okay, let me add the slash and see whether test case passes or not. If you check the console, you can make out what is the difference, right? Only slash is different, other than that everything is fine. I have added a slash here, and let me run it again and see how does it look like. It is going to next step means it this particular step got passed, right? The expected, if you see the test case got passed, there is no issue here. And this was a previous one, there is no issue, and it got passed. Okay, and this is an example of expect with to have URL, right? There are other examples also. I'm trying to cover some of the important one which we will be using frequently in our test cases. Other thing as a straightforward, you can check whether the particular website which we have is having this particular title or not. To have a title, you can try this also. Let's add this, and anyway we are printing the title here, and let me make use of this title, and let me add that here, await, expect, right? To have a title, I should be getting a to have a title, right? This is what the title I'm expecting. I'm putting the entire thing in the double quotes here. Okay, this is the assertion, this is the validation I'm adding here, to have this particular entire title as a title with on the browser which I have launched, right? If it is not having this particular title, the test case should fail me. Let me run this particular changes now, but before running let me comment this all the changes. So I am now focusing on only on to have the title and to have the URL, right? So I'm just focusing on this particular line of statements. I'm commenting the other part here. Okay, and running this particular test here, right? And it is launching the Amazon in the Chrome browser. Then it has to check for URL, and it has to check for the title of the URL page. Both it should check. So this particular test case got passed here. There is no problem here. It got identified, got validated, fine here. So let me change this to just to fail this particular test case, just to see how the failure looks like. Right, we have seen the failure in this one. Let me see, let me add some errors here in this particular title. I'm removing these two characters from here, and I want to see whether uh, title validation is failing or not. Okay, I'm just running this particular test again just to see the failure in the title. You see, this particular test case got failed, and what is the reason of failure? If you see the expected and actual, ES is missing from the expected, right? To summarize, today we have seen expect keyword with to have URL and to have title. You can try out other methods which are available in the official website of WebdriverIO, and do let me know if you have any questions there. Thank you.